Alright, good evening everyone, and you're welcome to Street Sense with PTom. How's been your day? Mine has been awesome. God has been faithful. And I want to tell you that listen, this week is not yet over. God still got something good for you, and you're not going to miss it. Alright, this is the place where we try to dispense wisdom of the highest order that you can take and apply in the practical events of your life. And please help us to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Toniwa Taylor. Alright, also subscribe to help us share this video on the Facebook after you've watched it, and of course help us invite your friends and family. It's always an awesome time. Tonight I want to quickly talk to us about the no man excuse. No man excuse. I'm sure many of us have had that excuse. I do not have anyone. I don't have people to help me. I don't have this. I don't have that. The no man excuse. Is it actually valid? Okay, we need to sit right down and then get what we have for us tonight. Okay, what is the no man excuse? It's just that thing that people say and say, the reason I've not done this is because I don't have anyone. I don't have a father, I don't have a mother, I don't have supporters, I don't have followers, I do not even have a degree. Can you imagine that? Hey, but listen to me, I'm trying to let you understand tonight that it is not an excuse. It is not an excuse. Whatever needs to be done can be done. I always say to people that excuses are good reasons for bad results. And what life rewards is results, not your excuse. You must ensure that you structure your life in such a way that at the end of the day, what you have, a result, evidences, proofs, and not excuses. It is very possible for you to stay on the same spot while others leave you, and then they go ahead and fulfill their dreams, and you stay on the spot thinking that you are justified just because you have no one. No one can be justified with such a lame and flimsy excuse. Don't just sit down on the same spot expecting people to show up on the blues and save you. No. Some people will become paralyzed in life just because they feel, I do not have anyone. It may sound good. It may sound all right. And then one thing excuses does that it reduces you to nothing, other than the one that gives the same excuse over and over again. You have to learn to take the bull by the horn. In Matthew chapter 20, verses 6 and 7, actually starting from verse 1, you will see the story of a man who went out there to hire laborers. And there were some who came early, so they were hired. And after like 3 hours, he went back there. And then he saw some people standing idle, and he asked them, why are you not working? Guess what they said? That because no man has hired us. I'm like, wow, so you're staying idle just because no one has hired you? Come on guys, you don't need to be hired. You can go and hire yourself. Get a job, start a work. You don't have to stay idle just because no one has hired you. I mean, being idle is not the solution to the fact that no one has hired you. As a matter of fact, you know that some people will think that you are not hireable just because you are standing idle. But you see, if you are doing something, no matter how little it is with your hands, they can say, okay, this one is a work material, and then because they see you doing something, they can hire you to come and do something much for them. But to those guys, they stood there and for 3 hours, and guess what? After 3 hours, the man went back there. He still saw some people standing hiding there. He asked them, and then the same thing. No man has hired us. Listen, guy, you can go ahead and find something to do. You don't need to wait for a man or for a woman to come from the blues and save you. Do something with what you've got. All right. In John chapter 5, there is a story about the man who was paralyzed for 38 years and was sitting at the pool of Siloam for 38 years. From verse 5 down to verse 7, Jesus came to him and asked him, do you want to be healed? Guess what this guy said? The next thing he said was, I have no man to push me into the pool when the angel comes from heaven and stirs the water. Hey, Jesus is not asking that story. But he was such a man who had given himself excuses for the first year, the second year, the first decade, the second decade, the third decade, running almost the fourth decade. One man came to you and asked a simple question: would you be made whole? The next thing, I have no man. Hey, if you didn't have any man to push into the ocean or into the pool, can you just be crawling and crawling? At least if you have crawled to the tip of the pool, there is a possibility that when the angel comes and stirs the water, you can just turn and then you are inside it. But for 13 days he was waiting for a man. How can you for a month? I mean, some people have even waited all this 2022 all till this October and done nothing with their lives. Why? Just because they are waiting for a man, waiting for an uncle, waiting for a cousin, a brother. Listen, they also have their issues. Man needs man, but guess what? Your first point of call is God, not man. So never let that be an excuse to you. I have no man. No, you don't have any man, you have a God. And you have to be confident with that. You have a God. Listen to this. To wait for people every time is to waste your life gradually. I'm going to say that again. To wait for people every time, for every single thing, is to waste your life gradually. Jephthah knew this truth. And in the book of Judges chapter 12, from verse 2 down to verse 3, I mean, these guys came to attack Jephthah, and then they said, why did you go to war without calling us? And Jephthah said to them, if I let me read it for us. Jephthah said, I waited for you guys to come and help me. But when there was no help, I put my life in my hands. I decided to do something for myself. In Judges chapter 12. Judges chapter 12, let me read from verse 1. It says, then the men of Ephraim gathered together, crossed over towards Zaphon, and said to Jephthah, why did you cross over to fight against the people of Ammon and did not call us to go with you? See that kind of quarrel, eh? Now, I mean, this is a typical example of even if you're not looking for trouble, trouble comes to find you. This guy went to fight war, risked his life for himself, and he now came after the whole world and said, we were going to war, why did you call us? He said, we will burn you and burn down your house on you with fire. And Jephthah said to them, my people and I were in great struggle with the people of Ham. And when I called you, you did not deliver me out of their hands. So when I saw that you would not deliver me, see what is that? I took my life in my hands and crossed over against the people of Ammon, and the Lord delivered them into my hand. Why then have you come up to me this day to fight against me? Do you get that? He said that I called you. You wouldn't come to deliver me, but I decided not to wait for you. What I did was I took my life in my hands. I decided that my downfall will be my own making. If I do nothing, I'm going to fall. I decided I would rather die fighting than waiting for a savior to come from elsewhere. See, and when I did that, when I stepped out, the Lord delivered them into my hands. Oh, I love Jephthah. He didn't wait for some people to come help him. He decided to help himself. Listen, I learned this from Genesis. Eliezer was going to go fulfill the wishes of Abraham, and Eliezer said, as I was in the way, the Lord led me. He didn't wait for God to push his leg. He said, as I was walking, God continued to lead me. See, God cannot lead you when you are stationary, when you are stationed on the same point, when you are immobile, when you are not moving. God needs you to move, and as you take the step, He will order your step. If you are not going to take any step, He's not going to order your step, because you are not even taking the step in the first place. Jephthah said, I put my life in my hands. In other words, I took responsibility for my life. I stopped waiting for others to do for me what I can do for myself. And that is what many people need to do. I decided to attempt and fail, even if it's necessary, but I will not be idle doing nothing. See, it is better for you to do something and fail trying to succeed than for you to succeed doing nothing. Listen, the only thing you need no effort to do and to succeed at is to succeed at failure. You don't need any effort to fail. But of course, eventually you will see how to put a lot of effort to fail. That is even worse. But really, you can succeed at failing if you do nothing. Jephthah said, I put my hands in my life. Even God knew this truth. In Isaiah chapter 59, Isaiah chapter 59 verse 16. Isaiah 59 verse 16. God speaking, he says, as I said, God saw that there was no man. God saw that there was no man, and he wondered that there was no intercessor. Therefore, his own arm brought salvation for him, and his own righteousness he sustained him. God looked down from heaven, and there was no man to help men. There was no intercessor to help men. So what did God do? God, verse 16, the Bible says that, and his own arm brought salvation for him, and his own righteousness it sustained him. God even didn't wait for man to rise up. When he saw that there was no man, when he saw that there was no intercessor, he took the whole work on himself. That Jesus had to come in the form of man to save men. God didn't wait for man. So the question here today is, why are you waiting for man? You've waited since 4 years ago. Now you are a graduate, you're still waiting for men, you're still waiting for the government. You need to step up. Take responsibility for your life. Take responsibility for your life. Do something for yourself. The no man, I have no man, is not an excuse. You can be the man that people are waiting for. You can do what you expect others to do for you. You can do it for yourself. It may not be the best at that moment, but it is still something. And guess what? You will never know how much you can grow or how well that thing can do and survive and thrive until you try. The solution to this whole thing is in 1 Samuel chapter 4. When you think that, oh, I can't do this again, I need someone, I need people to support me. Yes, that's the truth. But what I'm saying is, it will never come if you stay idle. When you add action to your words, you add action to your dreams and your visions. God Himself, in His almightiness, will release all paths for you. But when you sit down, hoping that men will come and help you, you will find out that even God can laugh at you, God cannot mock you, but God will be surprised and say, listen, this is not how it works. The way it works in this kingdom is that you take action, and then you will find that I'm already gone ahead of you. You know, God said to Daniel, in the book of Daniel, that go to the valley of Sheba. I don't know whether it's valley now or to the plain. Yeah, say God told him, go to the plain of Sheba, and there I will meet with you. And Daniel said, when he got there, he saw the glory of the Lord was already there. That means that the same God that told him to go there was already there waiting for him. So whenever there is a vision in you, don't wait for people. Take the first step. There is the provision that God has added to help you at every junction where you face challenges. In 1 Samuel chapter 4 and verse 9. 1 Samuel chapter 4 verse 9. This is the battle between Israel and the Philistines. And then the children of Israel thought that because they had the ark of God with them, they would win the battle. So when they brought in the ark into the field, they were so excited, they screamed that the Philistines had their shout and was like, oh, Atiko, we are dead. Why? Because a God has come into the battlefield. But one of their generals said to them, and this is what one of the generals said to the Philistines, and then guess what? With the ark of God in the camp of the Israelites, the Israelites still lost the battle. Why? Because God had left them. It was just the ark that they were holding on, that they thought that God was there. And the Philistines didn't have any confidence except in themselves, and they still won the battle. Guess what the guy said? The guy said to them, be strong and conduct yourselves like men. You Philistines, that you do not become servants of the Hebrews as they have been to you. Conduct yourselves like men and fight. The guy told them 4 things there. Number 1, be strong. There is no man. That is not an excuse. Be strong. You yourself, you're a man. Even if you're a lady, you are a man. There's still a man in your gender. Woman, you are a man. Be strong. You need to be strong. You are not weak. Don't think of yourself as a weakling. Don't think of yourself as if you are incapable. You can. All you need to do is to be strong. No wonder that was one of the first advices that God gave to Joshua. In fact, in David trying to pass across the vision to his son Solomon, that was the thing he also told Solomon. Be strong. The Lord will help you build this temple. The Lord will help you reign over these people. But you need to be strong. Success is not for cowards. Success is not for those that lack courage. Be strong. Number 2, he said, conduct yourselves like men. The King James Version uses the word quit yourself like men. He says, conduct yourself like men. Act as if you know that you cannot fail doing that thing. Act as if you know that God is with you and it has no other option than to succeed. The option is not no and yes, the option is yes and yes. So you are going to pick one of the yeses. Conduct yourself like a man. Number 3, he said to them, ensure that you do not become servants to the Hebrews like they have been to you. Decide not to be a slave. Decide not to be enslaved in life. Decide that in this one life that you have to live, except like let me mention, you have 7 lives, but I don't know anyone who has that. You only have one life. In this one life that I have the privilege to live, I am not going to be a slave to money. I'm not going to be a slave to any evil. I'm not going to be a slave to any bad, evil, corrupt boss. I am not going to be a slave. Not in this one life. Quit yourselves like men. Conduct yourself like men. Decide not to be a slave. Some things have enslaved you over the years. It's time for you to free yourself from them. Any habits, any misdemeanor that you've tried over and over and they keep on enslaving you, you can be strong. Conduct yourselves like men. And then decide not to be enslaved. The 4th thing the guy said to them is, and fight. Conduct yourselves like men and fight. If you don't put up the fight and you don't keep up with the fight, you will never become a more than conqueror. Even though that is who you are, especially in Christ Jesus. You are a more than conqueror, but you need to fight. You need to fight. Don't give up on that thing easily. Don't say, I'm going to close my business because there is no money. There is no, I need people, I need apprentices to help me, but then I do not have one, so I'm going to quit. No, don't shut down that business yet just because you think there is no, there are no customers and there is no patronage. No, fight. Anything you love, you fight for. You can fight for your marriage. You can fight for your business. You can fight for the life of your children. Fight and fight until you see the victory come. In 1 Samuel chapter 11, and I'm going to close with this verse, because this is one of the mistakes a lot of people make. In 1 Samuel chapter 11, from verse 1 to verse 3, then Nahash the Hamorite came up and encamped against Gabash Gilead, and all the men of Gabash said to Nahash, make a covenant with us and we will save. We will serve. And Nahash the Ammonite answered them, on this condition I will make a covenant with you, that I may put out your right eyes and bring reproach on all Israel. Imagine that kind of situation. This guy has come to fight against you. He said, no, we don't want fights. We are people of peace. You know, people of peace are like this. We are people of peace. We don't want fight. What should we do? And then the bully said, this is the only condition in which I'm not going to fight you. And then he says, you must come out, surrender yourself to me, and after you surrender, even according to the code of conduct in war, right? You may say that nothing is fair in war. When nations fight war, they have code of conduct, and that's why they can be made to pay for the damages of war. You may win the war, but then the United Nations, alright, can come up against you. The war court will have to say, you know what, you did some criminal things in the war. And then you say that everything is fair in war. Why? If someone comes to you as a soldier and surrenders, they don't expect you to still shoot the person and kill the person, because the person has already surrendered. You shouldn't then kill the person. Alright, it's part of the code of conduct of the law, of the war. And this guy said, you are first going to surrender to me, and after you've done that, I will remove your right eyes, so that you will be a reproach to Israel. What kind of thing is that? That is how bullies do. That is how life at times play or tries to prey on people. He said, you know, you are not just going to be defeated, I'm going to actually You become the reason why people are trying to mock your God. God forbid. And then look at what this guy said to the hamlet. The elders of Garbage said to him, hold off for 7 days, that we may send messengers to all the territory of Israel, and then, if there is no one to save us, we will come to you. That is not the speech of a victor. That is not the speech of a more than conqueror. You want to make me a reproach to my family? I'm going to surrender to you, and then you remove my right eye. I mean, your eyes is part of your vision. So you're going to make me lose my vision? And that is when you are satisfied that I'm going to actually serve you as a slave? And this guy said, okay, we agree, but please give us 7 days. We are going to send messages to our colleagues, our families, and the other tribes. If there is no man to save us, that is the speech of the fool. If there is no man to save me, I will die fighting. I won't quit. I won't put my life in your hands and say, do with me whatever you want. You're not God. I said in church recently, I said, listen, if you are at the mercy of men, one of the things that means is that there is a high tendency you will not have mercy at all. May we never be at the mercies of men. Oh, because the heart of man is desperately wicked. Even the Bible says, who can know it? Who can know it? I want you to make up your mind that even if there is no man to save me, I might have written letters out there, and if there is no man to save me, I will do something. I prefer to die fighting than to die doing nothing. If you have sent your CV to several companies and industries and organizations, some of you even decide that, you know what, don't even pay me, let me just come as a volunteer. Good, but now no one is calling you, no one is hiring you. Go ahead and hire yourself. Start from your house. Can you call an international company? That is where it starts from. But if you have a vision, that will be its end. Hire yourself. A company you're waiting for. I mean, can you imagine? I saw this on Twitter some time back. A guy has sent his CV to a company, and 4 years later, that was when the company now replied his mail. When he sent the CV to the company, they didn't reply his mail. 4 years later, they now replied his mail and said, is it 4 years or 1 year? I'm not sure. I think 4 years or 1 year, but I actually think it's 4 years. And they now said that now we have considered your application. I think it's 1 year. I'm not sure. And you are being offered this post. Please come for interview, and they put the address. And the guy replied them, oh, sorry, so you expected my life to be on the same spot for 1 year? I said, I love that guy's reply. That was the reply. So for 4 years, I've written a mail to you. You did not even reply or acknowledge that you saw the mail. Now, years has passed, months have passed, days have passed, weeks passed. You're not replying me that I should come and do interview for that. So my life should be on this. Keep your job to yourself. That is a man who is on a motion. That's a man who has a dream. If you won't hire me, I will hire myself. One way or the other, me and my dream job will collide. And it could happen that in doing my work, I will never need another job. It's possible. I'm saying to you tonight that no man is not an excuse. You don't have man, but you have God. You don't have any man, but you have yourself. You have your brain. You are in your right mind. You can do something. Don't be like that man who was paralyzed for 38 years. Who will celebrate Jesus for that miracle? But not that guy. For 38 years, you could have done something with your life. You know, we're in a country where physical inabilities, all right, incapacitations physically legislate some people to become beggars, and they now think that it is all right, that because I don't have hand, that is why I'm a beggar. It is not an excuse. You may not have hand, you may not have your legs, you may not even have your sight. These are limitations, I agree, but the reasons of it, they are not full limitations. You can rise up above those challenges, those inadequacies, those insufficiencies. You can rise up above those inabilities and incapacities. These things that want to incapacitate you and keep you in the cage. You can rise up. Why? You still have your mind. You have a God who supports you. Never you say again, I have no man. You have yourself. And God's got your back. Alright, so friends, that no man is not an excuse. Thank God for uncles, thank God for aunties, thank God for G-papas, thank God for people around you. God always uses people for us. Never you think that is not what I'm saying. God will use people. No, God will always use people. But I'm saying you don't need to be hiding till they show up. You don't need to do nothing expecting them to come and do something magnificent for you. God bless you. I'm sure you've been blessed by these words. Please do us a favor, share this video with your friends. I'm sure it's going to be a blessing to them. Subscribe to our YouTube channel also and join us this time next week, Friday. God bless you and have a great weekend ahead. I celebrate you.